administration meeting for a Let's Talk About It. And when we got there, we were surprised. She put us behind the news desk, and so all four of us were there behind the news desk. And not everyone knows, but Dorothy is a former Toastmaster, and so once she got going, she started throwing some pretty good questions to us about meetings and such, and did a wonderful job. And so with that change, I got to be temporary Toastmaster, and Jim gave a speech, and Alan gave us table topics and a WAG report, and so within that about half hour, we did almost a whole meeting. And I had a lot of fun. Apparently Alan did too. And boy, did he have some challenging table topics. So,
and I think it sounds like a good segment where people can get the feel of what our meetings look like.
yeah.
Well, good. And those are supposed to air around June 7th.
Yeah. Yep, she was talking about she needs to get the Memorial Day special one done first, and then we also have a nominating committee coming up next week, that meeting, and so that's all taken care of, and we'll have some recommendations, because as I saw in some club emails, we need to do elections in June and officer training as well. So we're kind of on track and on task.
Sounds good. Alan, do you have any business to add as treasurer?
No, we have, I believe, approximately 14 or 15 members, active members, but we probably won't get distinguished club status, but I think 14 that we have are very good members of Toastmasters.
Sounds good. Nancy, anything to add on membership?
No, I contacted Gary before I come.
Okay.
And he just said thanks. Let him know.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes that's all we can do is just continue to offer and let people know that we're here, and if they want to join us, we'd love to have them. Today we have Pete Bruno, our VP of Education, as our Toastmaster. He will also be giving a speech, but he will be our second speaker. So for now, please help me welcome Pete Bruno.
Your gracious leadership. Fellow Toastmasters, what a day. The weather's changing, speeches are coming. We're going to be on TV next month early. It's not this Sunday. I TiVo them all, so if you miss it, you can come over and watch. But that was so much fun. Today, we're going to go ahead and have a complete meeting, and we're going to start with Alan, and I get to go ahead and introduce him and give him an award, and then we'll go ahead and see. George is going to be his evaluator. But before we get started with that, does someone have word of the day?
Mark was supposed to be our...
Mark was supposed to? I've got one. Wouldn't you know, just in case. I saw Nancy kind of digging around in this stuff, so I didn't know if she was working on that. Paradigm. Paradigm. Yeah. An example of pattern. The professor handed out a sample research paper as a paradigm of the desired format. One of the things that we know in today's society is that we do something called paradigm shifts. Technology changes, our goals change, and we do a paradigm shift. So there, I've already used it once. Okay, that having been said, let's go ahead with the rest of our meeting. Without further ado, our first speaker is Alan Rubes. Alan has been a member, how fast the time flies, 9 years. And on TV yesterday, he said he's the rookie in the bunch. That's of the three of us, Jim's 20-something, I'm 25 years since I started. Today, as Alan is working toward achieving his advanced communicator gold that Virginia just finished, Alan's going to be working out of the advanced manual of special occasion speeches. In 5 to 7 minutes, he's going to accept an award from a noteworthy organization. The speech objectives are to accept with dignity, grace, and sincerity and also acknowledge the presenting organization. I'm looking forward to this because the title of the speech is Alan Rube's Farmer of the Year. So Alan, if you come on up, we're ready to make this award.
What's his time?
5 to 7.
5 to 7. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen of the world, we are here today to pay tribute to a farmer from Dawson County who exemplifies what it means to be a conservationist. Alan has implemented numerous preservation measures to ensure the soil with which he makes a living is nurtured and enhanced. No-till farming, crop rotation are just two of the many practices Alan has implemented in his never-ending quest to be the best possible steward of the land he can be. It is with this introduction that I ask you to please help me welcome the 2015 Farmer of the Year for Dawson County, as deemed by Dawson County Soil Conservation District. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alan Rube.
Wow. This is such an honor. I remember growing up as a child and being totally fascinated with farming. I had 3 brothers though who were less than enthusiastic about farming, but it's something that I just wanted to do pretty much from as long as I can remember. I remember an anecdote that someone said regarding your chosen profession. They said, if you can find something that you're passionate about, that you love to do, and you make it your life's work, you'll never work a day in your life. And that is so true when it comes to my involvement in farming. I grew up on the family farm, and I put in a lot of hours of work beside my dad, helping with anything I could help with. And I remember Dad was kind of a trailblazer, so to speak. He wasn't afraid to try something different. He didn't really follow a paradigm of the way farming should be. I remember the story about Dad buying new tires for his combine and then taking a knife and actually shaving off the lugs because you could get better traction with a smooth surface compared to a tire with lugs on it. It was that type of innovation and maybe thinking outside the box that I was able to harvest some of those ideas and the idea of not being afraid to fail. And believe me, there have been numerous failures on the farm since I took over, but I always tried to learn something from those faux pas, miscues, and tried to learn from them. I recently got into what they call no-till farming, where I don't like to use too much tillage and destroying the crop residue, so I've gone to more of a chemical fallow, and have been doing that now for upwards of 10 years, and the benefits of all that has been very evident in the fact that when we get a real strong rain, I don't hear a bunch of water rushing down the road, or then going out later on and finding the ditches are full of my dirt that should have been on the field in the first place. And I know that there have been other farmers in the past who have gotten this award, and I am in very, very good company. I am humbled by this award, but nonetheless, I appreciate everyone's confidence in me as being named 2015 Farmer of the Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you very much for your warm acceptance speech. And also use of the word paradigm. I've got a little piece of tape here. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure you, oops, that one's not gonna make it, but I've got another one here from days gone by. Make sure that when we do table topics, although I'm told they're challenging, we're gonna up the ante by seeing if you can slip the word paradigm into whatever we've got coming for table topics. So next, Donna's going to go ahead and, with Alan's good example of how to make a presentation of award that he gave me, which is another speech in and of itself, we're going to ask Donna to come and award me for Toastmasters the world's, almost the Guinness World Book of Record in terms of Oz and grammatical problems in a meeting a few years ago. So Donna, come on up and let's have fun with this. Donna's taking notes. This is making me nervous. Also, Al is to be complimented. One of the jobs of this speech is to give it entirely without notes. So you'll be blessed to know that I only decided 15 minutes ago that I do this. I've got no notes whatsoever.
Pete is also working out of the special occasion manual where he will be accepting an award. And his speech is 5 to 7 minutes. On behalf of our Glendive Noon Toastmasters Club 9941, I am presenting an award to Pete Bruno. Pete is the club's all-time holder of saying "ah" during a meeting. I find this very hard to believe because with Pete's 25 years of Toastmasters experience, he's always presented himself as a great speaker. So I find that hard to believe. I missed that meeting where he said that many ahs. But I would like to present this award to you, Pete Bruno.
Fellow Toastmasters, what a pleasure it is to at last receive this award, only vaguely alluded to in our television interview yesterday. I didn't even have to work to earn this award. Here's the secret. The secret is quite simple, fellow Toastmasters. Take a break from Toastmasters, either for vocational purposes or relocation purposes. Stop attending meetings for a while. And then, thinking because you speak at least once a week to a crowd, that you can come back with all of your skills fully intact. That was the rash assumption that I made about 15 years ago. I had continued paying dues for the benefit of the club, and I want to talk about the benefits of the club in a moment, but I came back and decided, well, I've got the time. Let's go ahead and start up a manual. And Virginia was wagged that day. At the end of the meeting, I was quite literally shocked that I had made so many uhs, so many filler words, so many half-uhs, and a few grammatical errors. The total was 26. And as much as Alan has tried to challenge me with that record, he always falls short. As Donna mentioned, this was before his time. When Alan roasted me a few meetings ago, he remarked he wished he'd known me longer. Out in the hallway, he said, it was because he wished he'd been in that meeting where I made all those guffaws. So Toastmasters honors us As I thought about it yesterday during the Let's Talk About It interview, every week, Toastmasters honors every member. We all get a chance to speak. We all get some feedback, whether it's part of a formal evaluation or a little note from one of our peers. So I hold this award near and dear to my heart, absolutely, because we have so much fun with it from time to time, and because it turns out in sort of a backwards way to be an encourager to a young man like Alan, who will never achieve this unless it's on purpose, giving a demonstration speech for a contest where he's trying to go ahead and see if people will catch that particular thing. And like Jim yesterday made it so easy for me as his speech evaluator to go ahead and hit several positive things in his demonstration speech and then look for that one thing that he could do better. We encourage one another in Toastmasters. Yes, we gain skills. Some of you have been around long enough to know that I joined Toastmasters because I had just become an expert in something, been invited to speak out of town, and noticed that there was one really boring presentation at this convention, and I'd just given it. And hence, at about that time, one of George's friends said, you should try Toastmasters then, as I kind of bemoaned that at a Promise Keepers meeting. Oh boy, I got to do something. Do Toastmasters. Do Toastmasters. So yeah, maybe you'll get an award for an achievement you didn't even have to work on, but you will get lots of encouragement besides and as well. Hoping I've made 4.5 minutes, I'm done. Okay. Thank you. So now, we are going to make a paradigm shift from speeches to table topics. Jim, won't you come and lead us in table topics, please?
Thank you, Toastmaster Pete. I have 6 topics here. These are taken from magazines. They're actually color advertisements. I would like you to describe what you see and speak to the message that you immediately gain from this. George, you have your choice of the whole lot. There is a broad range of what you are looking at here, so pick one. Now you got a couple here. Pick one of the 2 that you'd like. George Scarrett.
Hello, Toastmasters, table topic master. I have a photo here. I've yet to kind of see what it's about, but it says you have plenty to worry about. Let us take care of the weeds. We all know that we all have weeds in our life of one kind or other, but how to get rid of them, that's the secret. Right here, we've got a product that's a herbicide. And we all know that we have herbicides in the farming. They kill the plants that we don't like, and they let the plants grow that we do like. And using one herbicide over and over has a negative effect sometimes. It's weeds mutate, and they have an evolution, so to speak, that develops a plant that's immune to the herbicide that we're using. And that has been happening. I've visited several research stations throughout the years when I deal with this. I always go to a research station on agriculture, Wharton or Havre or Sydney, Bozeman, and that's one of the things they are very aware of. That if they use herbicide over and over again, pretty soon you have weeds that just are coming and they're immune to it just as much as the plants that they want to grow. So that's why we want to try Gold Sky. That's the brand I'd like you to try this year. And give a report and see how it came out.
heard you were unaware that that's only half of the ad. The message in the words and the message in the picture were unalike. And you would not immediately pick up on this, but if you look at the picture, there's a pretty young woman who is walking down the driveway. The unseen part is that her father is standing at the head of the driveway, looking very concerned, and she's walking down, and you got a guy that looks like I would never accept him as a son-in-law, standing next to a red automobile that looks like it can go 180 miles an hour. So there's a double message there, but you were unaware of that. I'm going to ask Nancy to do our next table topic. And you again have a choice of several. Nancy Cord.
For all of you Toastmasters, I just want to encourage you to try smoking, just for one day, just to see what it would be like. I bet some of you have tried it in the past, but you thought, oh, it just didn't work for me. Well, think about it. Won't you try it one more time, just to see if that sensation is still the same? Well, that's what many of our high school students do nowadays. They try it once. Somebody comes along and tells them, oh, it is so much better than what you think. It'll change your whole attitude on life. You'll probably even meet lots of pretty young girls. Well, stop to think about it. What as an adult, wouldn't you like to have some of those same messages conveyed back to you? I encourage you to smoke, just to try it just one more time, just to see what it would be like, to see if you can have those sensations again. But most of us probably know that our batteries in our bodies just won't last that long. We think to ourselves, if I try this, and she encourages me to try this today one more time, what will I get out of it? Will it be a sensation for me? Or will it be something I totally reject altogether? Will my body fill up with so much smoke in my lungs that maybe I'll be one of those people that you see on television that are in campaigns all across this country? Well, you think to yourself, maybe I won't try this product one more time today. But my gosh, when you leave this room today, look at all the young students out on the highway, out on the street, saying, I want to try it just one more time.
That is one of the most unusual advertisements you've probably seen recently, isn't it? It's stunning.
I couldn't think of.
That is
What was
actually a
that?
pro-smoking advertisement by a company, what is it, Blue something Plus?
Yeah, Blue Cross.
I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Blue Plus is a spin on Blue Cross. There are so many subtle things in that you could address. But how often have you seen a pro-smoking advertisement recently? It's unbelievable. This came out of, I'm reluctant to even admit that it came out of a motorcyclist magazine. They still sell advertising for smoke products. Okay, Donna, you're next on my list of
Victims?
Victims? I was kind of amazed because it says bigger battery on there too.
Donna Emmett.
Thank you, Table Topics Master Jim. My ad is in Spanish, but luckily I do know Larry the Cable Guy, and he is the spokesperson for Prilosec. I also know Prilosec because my husband takes one every morning. Prilosec is for heartburn, and I had 2 pregnancies, and I was lucky enough to only have heartburn during one of those, and that was maybe only one time. Had it, oh, it's awful. So heartburn can be very bad for you. Not only does it hurt, it has just a burning sensation that comes up, but it can also erode away on your esophagus. And my aunt, she had it so bad that she ended up going in and having to have her esophagus stretched because it had eroded so bad. And my husband, his was so bad, he went to the doctor. They told him no smoking, which was fine because he doesn't smoke, no drinking, which he's not a big drinker, no coffee, no caffeine, no chocolate. When I heard those 3, I said, oh, thank goodness I don't have it. But Prilosec seems to work, so go ahead and take one little purple pill every day to reduce the heartburn. Thank you, Prilosec.
Gracias. I'm going to go with Alan next and then come back to Pete. You have a choice of 4. I think that first word is strong.
Okay. Table topics master. It says strong can tell a bedtime story from gate 9. I don't know what that means. I have no clue. What does that mean? And then it says AT&T's network has the nation's strongest 4G LTE signal. So obviously it is a advertisement for a cell phone brand, and it shows a little girl here who is probably talking with her dad over maybe Skype or some other like FaceTime on if you have an Apple phone. It looks like she's very happy about the fact that she can talk to her dad, even though her dad is probably many miles away. And so if you can go on FaceTime or Spotify, you can be strong from all the way from gate 9 because you can actually talk with your dad and not have to be in the same room. So yeah, this is an awesome advertisement. Thank you.
Pete, you're the last of my victims.
Okay. Go for the middle one there, Steve.
Okay.
Table topic master Jim and fellow Toastmasters. Rosal ground squirrel bait. Fellow Toastmasters, there has never been a clearer indication that Jim Squires needs to change his magazine subscriptions.
Okay. I didn't know it was going to come back that quick. These came from a variety of magazines. Obviously, there was a motorcyclist magazine that advertises smoking and in a positive light. And most of us, when I saw that ad, I was just floored. I couldn't believe what I was reading. When I saw Larry the Cable Guy and read the Spanish, I said, oh, that would be challenging. I hope somebody in our club has a little background in Spanish. George had the one with the girl and the gold star chemical. Alan with the thing on the 4G services and technology, being able to be a father from is possibly half a world away. Great thought, great concept there. And then Pete, I would like to have heard a little more compassionate thing on animal rights from you. It's about gopher bait and killing gophers in pastures and that sort of thing. But I take the admonition well. So, Mr. Toastmaster.
As a fellow who grew up on a ranch in Arizona, I probably am not an animal activist. Oh, Toastmasters, we're having a great meeting and we want to end as well as we began, so I'm going to turn control over to Donna, our general evaluator, to get our evaluations and such done.
We have 2 speeches to be evaluated. The first speech that went was Alan Rhodes. George Garrett, you are his evaluator. Are you prepared to give his evaluation?
Fellow Toastmasters, and especially Alan. This is as I mentioned before, response to receiving an award. And there are various aspects of it I'm supposed to evaluate. And one of them is how effectively did the speaker express gratitude to the organization who presented the award. I thought Alan came across very humbly and yet confident. He didn't say, well, oh, you shouldn't have given it to me, and that would have been kind of an insult to the organization. So I think he handled that appropriately. How the speaker recognized the organization presenting the award. Well, he thanked them, and I think that's sufficient. Sometimes we go to meetings, and the paradigm is to pat you on the back, and you pat you on the back, somebody else pats, and that's all you ever get done is patting each other on the back. And he didn't do that. He thanked them, and I liked that. It was sufficient. And he wasn't drawn out. How sincere was the speaker in his or her gratitude? He was very sincere, and he gave a very interesting and comfortable response. And I think the highlight of the speech was his history of his farming, and how he grew up on a farm, and how he followed in his father's footsteps, and some of the things that he had done, and the changes that have come across over the years. Farming has changed throughout the years from horses to tractors, and even more abrupt changes now to computers going down the field where you don't steer anymore. And it's amazing. And I wonder what some of the ancestors of the farmers would have thought if they saw all the equipment now. What could the speaker have done differently to make the response more effectively? Well, I don't know if the podium is not set up completely square today, but it's tilting to that way. And Alan had a tendency to talk to that side of the room more than this side of the room. And I think it's a little bit about that, but you have to square yourself away and maybe become a little bit more aware of this side of the room. And that's sometimes it's difficult to get talking, you look at somebody and you kind of forget that there are people on the other side. What you like about the speech? The history. The history of the experiences. He had a very good voice rate. He was very comfortable. Everybody understood exactly what he said, and I don't think anybody, there wasn't anybody that didn't pay attention and know exactly what he was talking about. So I think it was a very good response. Congratulations, Alan, on being farmer of the year.
Thank you, George. Our second speaker was Pete Bruno. Nancy Cord, you are his speech evaluator. Are you ready?
Yes. Well, Pete gave a speech on awe. I didn't realize that Pete could possibly say the word awe so many times. I always thought Pete was very sincere and gracious in what he spoke to us about. It says, how effectively did the speaker express gratitude to the organization presenting the award? I thought it was very grateful. It was very dignified. He claims he didn't have to earn the award, which I always think is kind of that kind of leads you to want to listen a little bit more. How did the speaker recognize the organization presenting the award? Like I said, he was very gracious and he was very dignified. I think he thanked the audience and he sounded very honest. Did the speaker appear comfortable and gracious while accepting the award? I said yes. He tells us how Toastmasters honors each one of us, how each one of us will gain skills. He made us laugh, of course, and chuckle about his award. What would the speaker have done differently to make the speech more effective? The only thing I can think of is his speech was supposed to be going for 5 to 7 minutes. It didn't quite meet that goal. And I thought, maybe if he could have sucked us in just a little bit more, maybe if it went on a little bit longer. I was interested more in hearing a little bit more about his story. How did he get those so many awards? What was his speech about? What did you like about the speech? I thought it encouraged us. It said very positive things. But overall, it was fantastic.
Thank you. Both very good speech evaluations, which I was going to remind everybody to complete your evaluation or your slip there for best speaker, best evaluator, and best table topics. And you can go ahead and send them over to me and I'll do a tally while Pete, our Toastmaster, comes back up and finishes the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Fellow Toastmasters, we come to that kind of sad time. Even people who are court-ordered to come to me for classes say, you know, oh, boy, I really didn't feel like coming today, but I always walk out. It's almost like going to church. You just always feel better after you do it. And Peggy made a very similar comment last time she was here with us, that these meetings are very worthwhile, they're very encouraging, and sometimes when you miss, you don't know what you have missed. Alan might know this, but back in the 60s, Peter Townsend with his vocalist Roger Daltrey made a huge deal out of a song that had the refrain, "I'm a sensation." And I think if we were wanting to give an award for a sensation, it'd be Nancy. She used that word almost 10 times in her table topics, and and appropriately, yeah. And for your information, I think that's one of those artificial cigarettes that doesn't actually cause lung cancer. Yeah, but who knew, right? We talk about how this age has become so modern, how Toastmasters is modernizing, coming out with a brand new curriculum sometime this fall that we will probably want to adopt in January. And that's what our dues do. As Jim mentioned, hundreds of hours spent in developing something that will help people in today's world, in today's workplace, in meetings, in schools, all of those things. So as we end up, let's get a timer's report. Let's get, I know several people used the word paradigm. If anyone counted, that would be interesting as well. But let's start with Jim did. Okay, let's start with our timer report though first, Nancy.
Okay. Alan's speech was 3 minutes and 44 seconds.
How many minutes?
3 minutes and 44 seconds.
3.
3 minutes and 44 seconds. Pete's speech was 4 minutes and 32 seconds. For table topics, Alan's was 1 minute and 24 seconds. George was 1 minute and 25 seconds. Nancy was 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Pete was 8 seconds. And Donna was 1 minute and 21 seconds.
I better not win table topics then. I'm
Did you time the evaluations?
Do there more times, evaluation times?
Evaluation time, George was 2 minutes and 39 seconds. And Nancy was 1 minute 54 seconds.
Thank you, Madam Timer. Well done, you.
Hey.
And apparently Jim has his secretary made a bit of a WAG report as well.
Yes, I noticed that Pete, Alan, and George all used the term paradigm in a very appropriate way. I did not notice any glaring grammatical errors, and I only caught one which was Nancy, who really borrowed some time with it. She used it effectively, although inappropriately.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, thanks for doing double duty there, Jim. And I believe we're ready for Donna if she's ready for us.
Best speaker was Pete,
Yay.
and Nancy got best speech evaluator and best table topic.
Yay. All right.
Talk about being a sensation, Nancy. Here you go. Again, well done, you.
Thank you.
You bet. Any last minute business before we conclude? Okay, nominating committee next week, 2 weeks. That's already been sent out by email, your various jobs and stuff. I will look forward to both times. So,
When do we meet next week for the nomination?
there's just already 3 of us on it. It was formed already. So
Okay, good,
So you're free to
Thank you.
go ahead and pursue. Jim, was it 5 speeches you gave one day?
Wow.
You've been staying very busy. Your speech last time, I counted 10 things that you serve as a voluntary member of, so.
I don't dare count anymore.
We didn't volunteer you for anything
Thank you.
else. You bet. All right, so we are free to go. As my Catholic priest friend would say, go forth and sin no more. But I say to my students at the end of class, go forth and enjoy. So indeed, go forth and enjoy.
Thank you for you fair people who, with your table topic responses. Those are challenging.
Yeah, at first I didn't realize what that meant, and then the more that I got to looking and talking about it, then I realized after I.
It speaks to the positives of technology, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
And very effectively. The little girl listened to her dad from wherever he is. Without that dad standing there, the dad's got his arms crossed like this. He's looking down the driveway. He's in farm clothes. Obviously, he's a farmer. Yeah, I mean, you don't have time. And you're drawn to this, but, you know, once you realize that there's a dad standing over here with a real apprehensive look on his face, and then this guy next to the Mustang or whatever that car is. Yeah, James Dean's comes to mind, doesn't he? You should have gotten that one, Alan. I mean, that was a practice run for you with daughter. I wonder if that is a
like for you, George?
bigger battery, lasts 2 times longer. That is an artificial, isn't it? I didn't see that first.
Yeah, well, I couldn't figure out what it
Pre-filled
was.
blue tanks. It's an electronic cigarette. I had no idea.
Okay, yeah,
I had no idea.
okay.
But I'm not sure.
Well, I'm learning
Yeah.
stuff every day that I
All right, well, I know
didn't
you get
necessarily
busy in the
need to
summer,
know.
so-
I couldn't figure out what means bigger battery.
Yeah.
And that's
Well.
what really confused me. They have little tiny batteries. I thought, what?
But there was the gal that works on tobacco prevention, Lorene something is her name. I don't know where her office is, but anyway, she talked about this at one of the meetings of the Dawson County Healthy Community Coalition. And she has a board that she set up with all of these types of products. And it's amazing, you know, they're circumventing, that's how they're circumventing the tobacco advertising, is because it's an e-cigarette. And you get, what is it they make in different flavors now?
And that's what I was just gonna say, and I really appreciate that lady going to the school. And because my son, we were at a parent teacher conference, and he brought me over and said, look at these, and he was just so disappointed that cigarette companies are marketing this basically to kids. I mean, they
Yes.
have all kinds of flavored stuff. They have these
Yeah, but a lot of
e-cigarettes, whatever, that
encouraging.
look like a pen.
Nancy,
Well,
what can
Yes.
I
I'm
do
not a
for you?
smoker, so I wouldn't know, you know, and you'd see somebody, you know,
Okay.
your kid, for example, may
I
have one
put
of
'em
these,
out.
you
Yeah,
don't
they
think anything
came
of
out
it
of this
because it looks
deal
like a
here.
pen. Well,
Thank you.
that's wrong.
Okay, George, I'll have you for a
Put these
speed.
It
things
is
out
right.
there.
Okay, I'll try to
And so,
get
and
one
I'm
done.
glad that my
All right,
13-year-old
excellent.
thinks that it's wrong, and, yeah, and so.
But it's an eye opener.
Yes, it is. You
Yeah,
know, and they're
it's
just
just like,
totally
wow.
marketing towards kids. Well, they know that's their future because everybody else is dying off from it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know?
Dying along hill.
Yeah, wow.
I don't know if you need this from the law.
Yeah, if you leave it, I would appreciate it.
Mr.
Thank you.
Treasurer.
Hopefully you can understand.
think I got the
By
numbers
these
right when I wrote them
two,
down.
minutes, how
Um,
much they're gonna
yeah, I'm
check.
not
Thank you,
sure.
sir, for a successful meeting.
You bet. How much does a package of manuals cost?
I know they're $6 a piece.
$6
In
each.
the law.
Yeah.
Alan, $6 each.
Pardon me?
$6 each.
$6 each, okay.
I just
And then
checked.
do I just make that to
Uh,
Toastmasters?
Glenda Toastmasters, yeah.
Totally 12.
Okay.